Overnight, everything was different. The Indiana Fever are more than simply a basketball team. They're a media sensation. The sports world is watching every move in this narrative. What started out as small talk in the locker room has grown into a major franchise disruption. The head coach absent in that exact manner, and the name associated with her replacement, a legend, an innovator. Cheryl Miller is a person whose influence can be seen throughout women's basketball. Each game turned into a spectacle. Every timeout was captured on camera. Every chat in the locker room became a headline. White insists on discipline and order. Instinct, originality, and independence are what Clark lives on, and that conflict escalated to a breaking point. To be honest, because it needs to be. Said, I can relate to that young lady, and I felt for her. MHM, I know what it's like to be hated. Not I don't want to use hate, but despised. MHM. And people just having she brought some on herself a little bit 'cause she's cocky for a good reason. And I love that about her. But to watch the dynamics in the media, they had their narrative. One of the best that's ever played the game. So, I've known Cheryl for a little while now. I think her energy that's what I love about her. Like it's just her. Those risky passes, the 10 turnovers, it might just happen sometimes with Caitlin because that's the stop. Insiders claim that tensions arose during a practice session. This isn't Iowa anymore, Stephanie White remarked, glancing at Clark. This is the advantage. The gym fell silent. The squad heard that statement like wildfire. The dressing room was no longer cohesive after that. Players were suddenly picking sides. While some people stood behind the coach, others were drawn to Clark, the budding star whose impact was becoming more and more noticeable. It's no longer debatable when the superstar's power surpasses the coach's. A countdown to change is underway. The proprietor had reached his breaking point behind closed doors. He had prepared for the emergence of a generational talent by investing years, money, and culture. Then Caitlin Clark appeared. The number of viewers surged. The merchandise was sold out. The Fever quickly rose to prominence in the league, but he had turmoil instead of stability. Power struggles are rumored. Tension stories. There are rumors that Clark's camp desired a different course. According to reports, Simon called emergency meetings. He desired control over drama. And the decision was obvious in a league where star power, marketability, and influence are key components. Stephanie White did not step down. She was ejected. But rather because it would hurt even more to look back. Losing the job wasn't the most painful thing. It was Cheryl Miller who was taking her place, a name capable of appending a whole era. The best description was given by a staff member. Stephanie built the house. The ground trembles when Cheryl arrives. The internet went crazy the moment her name appeared online. Everyone asked the same question. Fans, analysts, and past players. Will Cheryl Miller truly return? Because this isn't only a rumor about a coach. This titan is making a comeback to the game that she assisted in creating. Let's consider this from a different angle. Olympic gold medalist and member of the Namath Hall of Fame. One of the most formidable college athletes in history. Indeed, the elder sister of Indiana's basketball legend, Reggie Miller. Cheryl has coached at the top levels at USC and the WNBA, but she left the position years ago to broadcast, advise, and influence the game from a distance. Why now then? Steve Simon reportedly made a personal call. He wanted a leader, not simply a coach, someone who expected respect, particularly from Caitlin Clark. And when Cheryl did answer, she said something that went viral. I'm not here to take care of a celebrity if I accept this position. My goal is to create a champion. On social media, that one sentence turned into a rallying cry. Cheryl Miller was courageous, bold, and pure. It was just what Indiana wanted. Every camera, microphone, and headline asked the same question as soon as her name surfaced. What is Caitlin Clark's opinion? Was she planning something behind the scenes? Did she contribute to Stephanie White's departure? There were no tweets, cryptic quotations, and Cheryl Miller. Clark made a statement in an interview months ago that seemed praying at the time. As a child, I watched highlights of Cheryl Miller. She used the court as if it were her own. I also aimed to convey that kind of confidence when insiders disclosed that Clark had discreetly approved Miller's hearing. Fever supporters went crazy. A post made by a fan went viral. Indiana basketball dynasty Clark and Miller came together. This was more than a coaching ploy. It was, however, not every person in the locker room is motivated. A few seasoned Fever players who had worked under Stephanie White for years saw the ground shifting underneath them. They saw White as stability rather than just a coach. In the midst of the storm, she was the calm. Long before the cameras showed up, she had faith in them. According to one veteran, it seems like Caitlin is now in charge of this team. The others are merely supporting characters in her tale. Harsh indeed. Sincere, of course. Indiana's dynamic is quite different. This is now a brand rather than a rebuilding team. Everyone else feels the heat when only one individual is in the spotlight. Drawing plays is just one aspect of Cheryl Miller's job. She must control her ego, regain people's faith, and demonstrate that she is more than a headline. The locker room may be in dire need of a coach who has the courage to compete with its star player. This has a poetic quality. The Miller name is associated with Indiana. Reggie Miller rose to fame as a symbol of devotion and compassion. Decades later, his sister might be the lifeblood of the Fever. Imagine the narrative. The same city, the same basketball kingdom, two Millers. Cheryl is on the women's court and Reggie is on the men's. Fans adore it. The media adores it. Steve Simon too. Chaos broke out. The return of the Miller name made everything seem certain. This action could rock the WNBA as a whole, not just the Fever. The coaching scene is immediately late. Sponsors are overjoyed. Fans are overjoyed. Not even detractors can dispute it. This is the discipline, driven and unrelenting if their chemistry works. Chaos if it doesn't work. Every perspective was examined frame by frame. Every timeout was broken down and every expression was made into a headline. Did Cheryl exert too much pressure? Did Clark retaliate? Tension is rising. Everything becomes satisfied. What does Cheryl Miller offer? Then, a return to accountability, effort, defense, and the basics. Minutes are never given out. They are earned. She will anticipate that Clark will lead with her voice, passion, and style in addition to highlight passes and logo threes. Instead of circling Clark, players like Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston will start forming partnerships with her. This is Indiana's team, not Caitlin Clark's. According to one of Miller's assistants, Cheryl doesn't coach to be liked. She coaches to make. You great. 3 legacies are defined by this occasion. Stephanie White is a builder, stabilizer, and future bridge. The legendary Cheryl Miller is making a comeback to demonstrate her continued dominance in the game. From viral star to genuine professional leader, Caitlin Clark. If it succeeds, women's basketball will reach previously unheard of heights in both the WNBA and sports history. It will be discussed for years if it doesn't work. In any case, Indiana is currently witnessing history. If these stories are accurate, the arena will crackle with electricity when Cheryl Miller on the court instead of just erupting in cheers. This is a proclamation rather than merely a coaching hire. Indiana has had enough of being the experiment, the underdog, and the patient. They are prepared to rule. A generational talent on the floor, a hall of fame, intellect on the bench. Stephanie White walked in order for this to happen. Caitlin Clark and Cheryl Miller are going to take over. Now we live in type dynasty mode in the comment section.